basically your takeaway from it?
I thought, we always go over the must as far as, things we got to do during the game. Talk about controlling the line of scrimmage, setting the edge of the defense, making sure that, we stop the run, tackle the runner, doing those kind of things. Find ways to affect the quarterback. Probably didn't get as many sacks as you would like, but we still were able to make him a little uncomfortable, play tight coverage, and make him move his feet a little bit. Corners did a good job as far as playing balls down the field, which is important against a team like that. And then, third down, we're able to get off the field. So really, when you go through the must we have for each week, we really kind of hit them. And, the thing I told the guys is hey, it's a good job, but I mean, we can play better, and we've just got to continue to work. So there's some areas that we can get better at, and that's really our focus, is to continue to get better every game, so that we can win the games we want to win moving forward.
Okay, this is a remarkable number of assists compared to solo tackles. Is that the kind of defense you emphasize, just game?
Well, I think that goes back to your effort. Running to the ball. If guys are giving effort, you're going to get some assists because. We reward that when we watch the tape and everything, and I think it's important to do that if you're going to go to the ball. So I think that those assists are more of a trademark of guys doing the things we ask them to do from an effort, energy standpoint, and pursuing to the ball.
You've been a lot of places, so it may not mean much to you, but to go back to Georgia, a place where you had some success, does that even mean anything anymore?
No, I mean, it's another SEC game for us. It's a road game. It's our second conference game, which is the most important thing. I just want to make sure that we continue to prepare the right way and go out and play a talented Georgia team.
Montez has been disruptive the first 3 games. Have you been pleased with what you've gotten out of him so far?
Yeah, I think he's a guy that loves football. He's passionate about the game. He works hard to improve his craft. He gives a physicalness when he's playing. I think he's got the ability to play both run and pass. So certainly pleased with his effort and his execution of the calls. And we'll just continue to work and develop him, and fully expect him to continue to play at that pace.
At that same position, Marquise has also been disruptive.
Yeah.
I don't show up much in the stats. We just talk about his play.
Yeah, Marquise is a really young player. He's the youngest of all those guys. I think he's got a lot of ability. He's got some juice off the edge. He's got a little wiggle to him. He can accelerate as he's bending. He's got ability to set the edge at the point of attack. He's really just a young guy that will get better the more he plays. So the good thing is we can play him interchangeably with Gary or Tez from that standpoint. So we'll continue to do that, and I would expect him to continue to get better.
Coach, you talk about Georgia, a very talented team a moment ago, but what is your thoughts on how Coach Smart's done a successful job with them?
Yeah, I think Kirby is an excellent coach. He's an excellent recruiter. I mean, when you look at the roster, I mean, he's done an excellent job of recruiting, a lot of 4- and 5-star guys that are really talented. And I think as he continues to put his, his blueprint on the program, they'll all be where they want to be.
Is Braxton Hoyt a good example of the next man up kind of philosophy?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, guy goes down. I mean, you're always going to have injuries. I mean, you're always going to have guys that aren't available. So when they're not, the next guy's got to be ready to go. I mean, the other team's not going to feel sorry for us. So you got to be able to go and produce and make plays and get the job done. And I thought Braxton did a great job in the game and was a solid performer for us.
Georgia's had multiple quarterbacks, multiple running backs play this year. What are your impressions of those guys that have interchanged?
Well, they got several NFL backs. I mean, you start looking at Sony and Chubb both. I mean, both those guys will be playing next year on Sundays. I'm sure they're excited about that because they got really bright futures. I think that both those guys are dynamic in the way they run. They can get double-digit runs. They have the ability to make home run plays. They can run through guys. They got good vision and balance. So, they're going to test your run fits and test your gap control from that standpoint. And, the quarterback, I've been really pleased with the freshman as far as when you look at him being able to go to Notre Dame and, win a game like that. You've obviously got something to you. You got a little bit of the it factor. So he's a guy that's going to be good for them moving forward. And, of course, when Nick comes back or when Easton comes back, he's a guy that, played for him last year, and he's got a really strong arm. So I think when you look at them, they're really talented at running back, and their quarterbacks are young, but they got a really bright future.
Against
under center downhill rushing teams like that? Is Gary Green a particularly important piece of the defense?
Well, I think they all are important in the standpoint of, you've got to be able to set the edges of the defense with your edge guys. Obviously, Gary is one of those, so Gary will play an important role in that. But, once you set the edge, you got to have guys that can build a wall inside and not to create seams so your backers can flow and fit downhill. And I feel like our guys have done a good job with that. So I think it really gets down to team defense. Even our corners. Our corners have got to be able to crack, replace, and do some things like that. So it's really, to be able to defend the run, it really takes all 11 guys, but certainly Gary will be a part of that.
Jonathan Abram's seen a lot of the field. What about his skill set fits in your scheme?
Yeah, Jonathan is a guy that can play multiple spots. He can play either safety spot. He can play nickel. He can play money backer. He'll play all of that moving forward. He's a football player. He's a guy that loves ball. He studies it. He's really probably obsessed with being a great player. He really works at his craft and is a smart guy. And I think that kind of, I think anytime you get guys like that, it can also feed into other guys, particularly in that room. And I think that his influence has shown up with those guys, with the way he's done it. So certainly glad he's a part of our team and one of our leaders, and fully expect him to continue to be a leader for us and, make plays moving forward.
You guys are dominated on third downs especially. How much of that is sort of like a mental switch for guys on the field?
Well, I think, third down is always going to be a stick element relative to the down and distance, things like that. And our guys have done a good job of understanding the routes you're seeing, and, where guys line up means things, and formations mean things. And then also I think that it's a combination, I remember when I first got here, is how do you improve your pass defense? Well, the first thing you do is improve your pass rush. And I think that's critical, that it goes hand in hand. You got to make sure that the quarterback's got a clock in his head, that he has to get rid of the ball at a certain time. One, you'd like to be able to force that issue with your rush, but two, he feels that from other plays, other third downs, other plays where you've got pressure on the guy, so that you never let a guy settle his feet. I think anytime a quarterback can settle his feet and step through the throw, they're going to be more accurate. But like the other night when you watched those plays at the end, he never really stepped through his throws. He was really kind of back a little bit, which forces a not as hard a throw and not as accurate a throw. And, that's really what you're trying to do, is find ways to make that guy a little uncomfortable.